Okay, we're back.
Hello.
We're back. What is this one screen?
There's two of you now.
And
Twins.
okay, let's do this and give you there whilst I sort what's going on with me. Yeah, is that? Hey,
Hello.
there we go. Hi, Ellie. Welcome back. If you just joined us, yes, we had that hiccup there. You never get it perfectly right with these techno stuff. But tell you what I can promise you is we've got a super duper guest tonight. She was here last Sunday, and we looked at some of her development in now they've turned professional. We'd just like to continue with that journey if we may. Ellie, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Good show. Now let's see if this is going to welcome you. Hey Ellie, what's the week been like since we last were on the show together?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. I had my first race of the season this week, so that's been a little bit different. It didn't actually go too well, so it wasn't the best race. Basically, it was Bromley Twilight Invitational that Mark Hookway put together. It was an amazing meet, but it was very windy on the night, very windy, and me just thinking I'm indestructible, I just front ran it in the wind. And everyone just used me as a wind barrier and went around me.
All right, there you were shooting everyone, right?
Yeah, so maybe didn't run my smartest race, but it was okay. It was 2:03, which is not really what I was going for. I wanted to try and make it faster because obviously I wanted to run a PB. But with the winds and everything, I should have just altered my tactics and thought it's not a day to run fast. But there's me not running for like a whole season, and I'm like, I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Paid the price on the last 100, definitely. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you are forgiven. It was the first race of the season for you, and but other athletes had different strategies, did they not have?
Yeah, we got out all quite fast. We had a boy pacemaker, so he was quite ahead of us. So I thought, oh, I'm going to sit behind the pacemaker. He's going to 600. Like, that will shield me from the wind the whole way. I'll be fine. And then he went through in 26 for the first 200, and I was like, I'm not going to go with that because I'm going to die. So I kind of was the next pacemaker for everyone else, and I wasn't getting any shield from him. I was just out in the wind. Everyone sat on me, and then the last 100, my legs were gone from just taking all the wind. So it wasn't very smart, but I've learned from it, and let's hope I don't run like that again.
Well, I think another way to look at it, Ellie, if it makes you feel any better, is it turned out to be an endurance session on your part.
Yes, it did. I definitely got a stimulus from it, that's for sure. The body was aching the next day, but no, yeah, it was about 2:03, so my PB's 2:02, so it's not like a million miles off, but I just didn't race very smart, and I definitely would have been better sitting in and using my kick, but the kick was gone by that point.
Yeah. I bet it would have been with all the wind, as you put it. It's been very windy the last week. And where was this race, by the way, you said?
It was in Bromley, and Mark Hookway put the meet together. It was he set it up himself, and it was brilliantly put together. It was very like safe and everything. So it was a really good meet to be a part of. I just wish I'd run better there, but can't run well all the time. So I suppose we just go. I've got my next race on Tuesday. Actually, I'm going to go to Manchester and I'm going to give it another go.
Okay, then. Therefore, well, there you are. You've got, as they say, another race coming up, to redeem matters soon enough.
Yes, that's the thing with athletics. If you wreck one race, there's always another one. So it's never your last race. You can always rewrite it. So I'm going to just try and do that on Tuesday.
Would you like just to share with, some of our viewers, the current situation there is one of coming out of lockdown or still trying to negotiate activity in a climate of a lockdown and social distancing? What was your experience like at this particular race that you went through, this past week? How was the social distancing expressed, and what did it mean to the athletes, the technical officials, the spectators? What was it like?
So I did a race in Italy. Well, it wasn't a race, it was a pacemaking job. And that was the first experience I had out of lockdown going to an event. And that was quite a high standard event I was pacing at. And we had to have temperature checks before we went into the stadium. We had to wear masks if we were inside the hotel. And we kind of just had to stay with the people that we're always with. So the people I was sharing a room with, I could stay with, but I couldn't really stay with, you can't be in groups and stuff like that. So that was my first experience, and that was an international competition. And then on Friday, when we went to the UK competition, you kind of was told, like, look, you're allowed 1+1, and you have to write. Basically, when you're signing up to do the race, you have to do a whole health screening first. So make sure that you've got none of the symptoms, write it all down. No, I've got no symptoms. And then you're allowed to bring 1+1, which usually, like, you can bring as many of your friends and family as you want. But no, it was just one person could come with you, whether it be a coach, a family member. And then they also have to take a health screening to make sure that they've got no COVID symptoms as well. So there was a lot of more measures put in place than what you would usually find. And then when we got there, we did a track and trace to make sure that we're still feeling fine, ticked all that off, and then went through. And then, you kind of just had to stay with your one person. You can't like be sitting in groups and things like that of people that you haven't been living with and things like that. So it was a bit more spread out than usual, but it was really well put together, and I think it was very safe. And also, when you finish the line, you'll do the elbow tap now. You don't do the hug. So it was very different, but it was not a million miles different. It felt still quite like usual racing does feel, so it was okay.
One of the things that has come out, with both with coaches and athletes returning to competition, it was a bit of a sense of nervousness, not being sure what to expect and how to manage themselves, so that sort of anxiety, how do you think the organizers manage to control it and give both athletes and coaches attending the meet to have confidence for them to go in through and express themselves on the track?
There was quite a lot of like officials and stuff, so like people that were making sure that everything was running how it should be running and the new rules were put in place. And we was sent a lot of information before the race actually happened, so that we was clued up with how everything was going to run on the day. So I think you already had like a sense of preparation through having like the emails to tell you this is how it's going to be at the moment, and then you had the officials there to reinforce that, and that was really good, because if anyone was getting a bit too close, they'd just be like, look, we're trying to put this on in a sensible way, just got to keep your space and everything like that. So it was very well managed, which was good. And no, to be honest, like the actual part of racing, it just felt like normal racing. You do your warm up, you kind of stay on your own on your warm up anyway. What I do, I just warm up on my own, got my music in, and then I'm hit the track and do some drills, and then we go to the start line and race. So in that respect, it wasn't really any different, my build up, but it's just, you know, keeping space from everyone when you're just watching and things like that.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ellie. That is one of the senior races you've been, but you've not always been a senior. You've come through some journey to get there. You know, I hear you talking about doing, a rabbit job, you know, pacemaker job there. But, you know, it has been a long journey for you to get to be able to do that. Let's have a look at one of the races, you know, probably that you last week shared that it was code for you in terms of
so now the women's 800 meters. A very good 17-year-old Briton, Kahisa Malinga, in lane 5. On the outside, lane 8, it's
some memories for you there. That was one of the major.
Oh, I can't hear you, Stan.
Hey? Yeah.
I think there's a delay.
Oh, there was.
Yeah, like when you speak, I hear it like a few seconds later.
Okay. Are we getting closer now, like in lag time?
Yes, that's better. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I was saying that race was, you know, the transitional race. You know, it's an under 20 race, and that's a race where, you know, you normally want to figure out, yes, am I good enough for the senior ranks? Do I continue with this journey? And when you were at that start line, and you obviously had worked, you know, your socks off to be able to make that Great Britain team for those championships. Could you share with us what was going on in your mind regarding that particular championship and what it meant to you?
Yeah, so going back on similar to what I said last week, I just went there and I didn't want to just make up the numbers and, you know, just oh wow, I've got the vest, like that's it, I've made it. I wanted to go there and bring something home, like a medal, and really like prove that, you know, I'm meant to be on that team and bring stuff back for the team, you know. But I just knew that I was going to go there with a plan to, you know, go a medal rather than just, you know, just take part. So I think that was a massive thing for me, to just believe in myself. Look, you've got there, you're good enough to get there, now go and get something from it. So I kind of went in with that mentality, and luckily it paid off. I come back with, you know, the silver medal, and that did definitely give me a massive confidence boost to go forward, and just made me have really a lot more self-belief that, you know, on the big stage I can put it off, as well as just like, you know, I was used to just the UK races rather than international ones. So
yeah, let's have a look at a part of that race that you mentioned.
Baker dictating the pace from the front at the moment, but has Guyon over on her inside and Coiro on her outside. Baker just fraction.
Okay. Well, not such a windy day that day, but today you are in the front. You like to take that lead now, don't you? Is that some kind of strategy you know, is that Ellie Baker herself, really?
Yeah, I would say not. It's kind of a mix, you know. I'm not afraid to go to the front if I have to, like, but I also do like coming from behind. There's also that worry with like a stacked field like that in a final that you're going to get boxed in. So I think part of me was like, oh, I just get to the front and be clear of getting boxed in. But I don't think that was, you know, initially my plan. But it just worked out that way. I seemed to have got out the fastest, and I was just there. I didn't particularly want to be at the front because I feel like you're there to be shot at, and I usually like coming through, you know, the last 200 at some point and put the hammer down. But I usually feel like you can kind of go a bit faster if you're sitting on someone. So I wasn't in the most comfortable position there, but when you get put in that position, sometimes you just got to roll with it. So that was kind of what I was doing.
I like the phrase there, you know, that very, the descriptor you've used there, you know, like put the hammer down, you know, that's a very...
Yeah. When you go, you got to go.
Very assertive, you know, assertive attitude, you know, to taking a race on. Let's see when...
Van der Elst coming around the outside doing well, but she's now just started to tire. Koiru trying to get up in contention with the two Britons. Reinhardt as well, working very, very hard, but it's Baker and Malanga away. It's going to be the two Britons. Reinhardt's coming through quickly. Malanga, though, Malanga just edged in front at the line. It's Britain 1 and 2.
Sorry, Ellie. I hope I'm not rubbing it in here.
She beat you. No, it's so frustrating because I feel like I was edging it, you know, with 50 meters to go, but I just lost my legs and I didn't keep my form, and that's kind of where I lost the gold medal, which is frustrating. And I think even though it was my first like major medal, I still had that bittersweet feeling. Like I know, you know, if I had just done a few things differently, kept my form differently, I could have come away with the gold. But it's all right saying it after the event, but you know, I think I was dying at that point, so it was good to get a medal, but I definitely wanted more, and I was still frustrated after the race.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure it's been it's been a while now since you had that race, and you've had probably countless reflections on it, and have, you know, grown and matured, you know, from that race itself. If I may pick you on one statement that you say there, which is, I lost my legs and I should have kept my form. Which one do you think would have served you best? You know, keeping your form, as it were, would you have kept your legs?
If I kept my form, my legs would have been straight under my hips and not in front and reaching. Because I think when you kind of want to get to the line, you kind of lose everything that you've trained for, and you're just in fight mode, rather than no, keep with it, keep your form. And then I think I would have been in a much better running style and been able to put more power through, you know, my stride, and I would have got to that line in a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the legs go anywhere as soon as we start the race. The legs are going away. So it's whoever keeps their form most, their postural integrity the most, whose legs do not go away that quicker.
Yeah. Who can hold on to the legs for longer?
You can hold on to the legs a little bit longer, you know?
Definitely. Something I lost on the last 5 meters.
Listen, Ellie, I'm going to take you back to, you know, to the lockdown and safety measures, because we have a friend of the show, Terry. Terry is always on the show and asking questions. He wants to know, you know, we got a question there, you know, how has lockdown, you know, affected, you know, mental attitudes regarding performance? How has that, you know, if anything?
When lockdown first happened, I think in my head, I didn't know if there was going to be a season at all. So, you know, you're training and you're doing this massive winter volume, winter graph, which at the end of the day is, you know, the horrible stuff that you have to do, but you do it because you know that, you know, it's going to get you to where you want to be in the summer, whether you're going for the Olympics or whether you're going for age group championship or whatever you're aiming for. You put the grind in on the winter training because you know that you're going to benefit from it in the summer. And when you basically had a whole lot of winter training and then you get told like February time, oh, and there might not be any races at all, you're kind of a bit like, oh, your motivation, it does drop a little bit. And I think to begin with, when we just didn't know if there was going to be any races, it's like, how do you keep your motivation? How do you keep, you know, striving every session?
That's good. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Yeah, somebody's trying to call, not knowing that you know, I'm on the show.
No, yeah, I just think for that question, you definitely had to keep your motivation, because, you know, because you didn't know if you was going to race or not. We kind of just went on the whim that we was going to race, and I continued to train. But maybe, you know, if I had known I was 100% going to be racing, you put that little extra bit of effort into each session, because, you know, you could be training really hard and in the best shape of your life, but you might not get to show it if there's no races. So it was definitely hard to keep the motivation, but I think we did quite a good job as a group to try and keep going. Our coaches were on to us, and we was posting our sessions and stuff. So if you don't do it, they're going to see. So it had some accountability there, which was good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think it was, well, it's been a difficult time for everyone, and everyone has been affected differently. And depending on individuals' mental disposition, each one has been affected differently relative to that. And also, I think, as you point out there, the environment, the training and the coaching environment, you know, would be a huge factor in helping alleviate those mental stresses in the period.
Yeah.
And motivation is fed on performance, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
And so if you're not performing, it's difficult to keep the motivation banner light going on, because there's no feedback, as it were.
Yeah, definitely.
That you are doing. So
yeah, and I think little things like, I just love training on the track, and we just couldn't access a track for so many months, and so the sessions become quite boring, because I'm not like, I love the speed work, like that's my favorite stuff, but we had no choice but to, you know, go on the trail and do a few longer sessions, and sessions where you, like, on the trail you just can't run as fast as you can on the track. So it was like a bit frustrating towards the end of lockdown, because I was like, I just want to be doing what I enjoy doing. But it was good I did definitely keep going, and I kept strong, but I just was happy when we could actually get on a track, because it was quite boring on the trail every day. You get sick of the same scenes.
Yeah. You mentioned there that you just love speed. You love the track, you know, and yes, speed is a major component of your, you know, race profile, and the manner in which that you have developed and how you express yourself. When we come back, we're going to have a look at, you know, some of the work that you've done, you know, in which you reflect this love and this passion you have for speed, and great water break there, then, Ellie. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, just quickly tell us about your, you know, how it all started, you know, at your club or this school and the club. You know, how did it all start? When did then the decision come? Right, this is what I want to do.
So I touched on briefly last week. You know, I started. My parents just wanted to burn some energy. You know, I went in the local fun runs. They thought I was quite good, and yeah, they put me into training at the local club, Hearts Phoenix. So I went down to the track, and they they thought I was a sprinter to begin with, and I wasn't really sure what I was. So we did an open meet, and I told you last week I come last in the 100. So I was like, oh, I'm not a sprinter. And then I come like third in the 1500. So I was like, oh, I think I'll stick to that. I did a bit better in that. So I kind of got like the middle distance vibe from myself when I went and did that open meet. And then when I went to training, I was originally in the sprinters group. And then because I'm quite a persistent child, I kept walking across the field to the long distance, and they kept turning me back, and I keep going back every week, and they'd be like, right, we're not going to get rid of her. We've got to just train her. So they eventually gave up on sending me away, and then they was like, okay, you can join in. So I was quite persistent with what I wanted to do, and I kind of, after that open meet, decided what I was going to be. And from there, I just did races, tried to pick like markers, so I'd aim for girls that beat me last week and I'd try and beat them the following week, and little things like that. I think setting goals towards bigger goals are really good. And then in the end, made English schools, then I made the GB junior team, and then it kind of gone on like that. So it's been like a natural progression, but it's been quite a long journey at the same time.
Yeah. Do you think you're they say the grounding that one has as a junior tends to come in handy, and serve the people best athletes when they get into the grind and the graft of a senior athlete career. Can you create a bridge, in your experience so far?
I think a lot of juniors actually just are some of them are naturally more developed, so that they end up just running faster and being the best at their age, because they've developed faster than the others. And sometimes you do see that when people just develop so quickly that they are head and shoulders above everyone else, because other people just have not developed at the same rate. Where I don't think I was one of them people. I had to actually really work hard to try and get on that team. I was naturally good, but I'd been through a few injuries and things like that, and I had to literally reassess everything, rebuild from my injuries, and really put a lot of graft in to make that team. So for me, as a junior, it's not like it came easy. I had to work very hard to get on that team. So I think I've always been used to putting a lot of graft in to get where I want to be. And I think that has teed me up nicely, because I know that things aren't just handed to you. You're not just a natural talent and there it is. You have to work hard to get on these teams. And I think usually the juniors that are just naturally strong because they're more developed are the juniors that maybe don't go on to the senior level because it just comes so easy to them. They don't want to put the work in because they just think it should come easy to them. And I think that's the difference.
Yeah. Are you going to share with us, you referred to your injuries, the injury you experienced in pretty early and, in a very strong sense, in the fact that it was there impeding everything else that you wanted to do to continue developing.
Yeah. So I couldn't run for about 9 months because I had a peroneal tendon injury and also had a knee injury before that. So it was about 9 months where I just was having like injury after injury. And it was just because I never gave up that I probably just come out the other side, because I wasn't going to just say, oh, well, that's it, I'm injured, like, let's just call it a day. Like, my dad was very supportive and he helped me find like people to try and help my injury. So, we found what I spoke about last week, the osteopath that I use, then the massage team that I use, and then we found Stan, and we kind of had to rebuild the way I was running because it was just not economical, and I was getting injured because I wasn't running with the best form and things like that. So we had to really tune into the way I was running to make me less injury prone. And touch wood, everything that we put in, we installed kind of to try and rebuild from in the injury that I keep on top of now. I haven't had any problems since. So I haven't actually been injured for about 4 or 5 years. So that for me is brilliant, because I think as you are developing as an athlete, you pick up things that, okay, well, that worked when I felt that, so I'm going to do that. And when that was tight, I had a pain in my knee, so I'll make sure I roll that out before my session so that I'm not getting that pain. And I think you learn to manage your body a lot better as well. And, you know, things that you've learned through the speed development that we did, just like teaching the mechanics of my body to, you know, hit under the ground, hit under your hip, everything, you know, don't loop out with your leg, you know, it's got to be tight underneath you, ready to hit the ground. And I just think I learned so much with you, and I feel like every experience that I've had has given me so much knowledge to like go on and actually put it install for the whole way through my career, because, you know, since I've learned so much from being injured, I've not been injured since. So I think it's a good thing that I went through it to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, let's look at, like I told you, I went into the library in my archives and found some training videos.
Yeah.
So I've got something here for take that. Yeah.
Go. Wide out. Hey. Wide out. Hey, check that bump, check that glute. Wide out. Hey.
That seems like such a long time ago now. That's brilliant. I forgot about that one.
Yeah. Remember, you know, at the top of, I think it's Westminster Lodge track, and had to use the grass there because you're just returning, you know, post rehab, and so we needed to rewire things a bit.
Yeah.
And what did you think about it? Because I get athletes sometimes that if they haven't had the understanding of neuromechanical training and speed training, rewiring the body, sometimes they don't understand. They come, they expect to run, and there you are, this coach is taking you on a little mountain top and you're doing moves that you
never done this before. I think you explained it to me really well when I joined. I think like you knew that, we both knew that there was not just going to be, right, you know, we're going to get you here and we're going to do the exact same thing that you've been doing, because, you know, things aren't going to change if I had done that. We had to rebuild, and that is literally starting from scratch. And I think you like just told me, look, we're not going to be running and, you know, you're going to be doing the same things you've been doing. We've got to rebuild your whole like system, your whole style, and do it properly so that this doesn't keep happening. And I feel like when we did that, I just bought into it. I just thought, no, this is what I'm going to do. That's what's going to get me to where I need to be. So that is literally what I put all my focus on. Every session that you gave me, I would try and do absolutely 100% and put every bit of effort in, because I knew it was going to, you know, get me to that end product where I will be running fast around the track.
Here's another one.
Wide out. Power. Wide out. Power. Shuffle. Pull and pull, pull and pull, pull and pull. A.
That was brilliant. I can't remember wide outs. I absolutely forgot about them.
Well, you got better, so that's it.
You don't need to do it right now. No, they were good. You can tell how out of breath I am, so I'm still getting a good workout.
Yeah, I could hear you, you know, with a heavy breathing out there, you know, and this is just working out over 20 meters, but you would get really,
yeah.
a lot of
I remember
work,
being very out of breath, and I was thinking, this is harder than a running session. I knew I was getting a lot of good feedback from it with my body and stuff because I was still aching just like I would on a normal session.
Yeah. No, you were brilliant. You were very receptive, and but also, excuse me, more importantly for me, very keen to understand the why behind the what we were doing.
Yeah.
And once you bought into that, I could see that you applied yourself 110% more than
Yeah.
what was required of you, because I got the feeling you understood the why,
Mm.
and of course your desire to get back and get your career back on track.
Yeah, definitely.
Those two components there, I think, were driving you, in every session, I think.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. That's good. Well, I've got a little montage before we come back to training here. This one.
Take him a bit higher. Take him higher. Get the arm in it. Get the arm in it. Tall. Stay tall.
Ah, that was good. Thank you, Stan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Just a little story there, about the Ellie Baker journey.
No, definitely, yeah. It was well, we worked together for a long time to try and rebuild it all because I was probably in a bad way when I joined you because I felt like I wasn't going to get back on track. It was a lot of hard few months previous, and it was really good to come through the other side, and it was really a lot to do with what we did. So thank you.
Yeah. Well done. Right. Let's see the second motion.
Go. Wide out. Hey. Wide out. Hey. Check that bump. Check that glute. Wide out. Hey.
How about this one, Ellie? Here, back.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Oh my gosh, that was in the gym. That was so good.
Yeah. I think at that point things had settled in your knee and in your hip and progressing it.
Yes, we definitely had a lot of progression.
Yeah, a little of instability work on stability work there, to continue to invite new patterns into the system so you are robust enough to last the training that you needed for your 800 meters and 1500 meters when it took your fancy.
Yeah. Bit far. But I do like it, but not often.
Yeah. No, well done. Gonna give you a break, and when we come back, we're going to look at now more closely, on how things are going on now with Ellie as a professional athlete and what that looks like different. What are the challenges there? What are the choices that have to come with that, that decision on your thing? Yeah. So there you are, Ellie, and you, within that transitional phase that you become a professional athlete, that's all you do. Train, 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 race, 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 and train, train, train again. What are the challenges? What are the choices? What is it? What comes along with that decision and with that lifestyle?
So I did have to make quite a few big decisions, quite young really, because I probably moved from my mum and dad's house about 3 years ago, maybe just after Grosseto. So I was still probably about 18 when I moved out, and the decision was I really wanted to try and be, one of the best 800-meter athletes, and my boyfriend had moved to a coach called John Bigg, and he also trained Shalane Ruskin-Clark, who, was winning all of the British championships, making all of the world teams, Olympic teams. She was, our best 800-meter runner. And I thought it was just such an amazing opportunity to, move and train with her. So I basically moved my life from Hertfordshire down to Brighton and started training with Shalane and John. And I just knew that, this is what I want to do. So I'm going to make the sacrifices. I'm a very family orientated person. So for me to move away from home was quite a big decision. I do really miss my family when I'm not at home, and all my family are still living at home, and I feel a bit left out sometimes. But I kind of just thought, this is what I want to do. I've just got to make sacrifices, for the next 10, 15 years. If that's what I want to do, everything has to be committed to, being the best and trying to do everything to be the best. So that was quite a big decision I had to make quite early on.
Yeah, a big decision indeed, and I can identify with that, the struggles that you would express regarding that. But decisions have to be taken. Once one is clear about the pathway they want to travel, and then consider what sacrifices one has to take, to attain that. It does come with that. And I'm sure mom and dad are happy for you now for it. Yes, painful at the time.
They're happy to get the break. They're like, thank God. Dad would be traveling here, there, and everywhere, taking me everywhere, and I think he's having a nice break from it, getting some of his own time back. So no, I do think they miss me. They tell me they do, but not too much. I think if I move back home now, they'd be like, take her back. We can't deal with this.
Oh dear. Ellie, as usual, you've been fantastic, very generous with your story, very generous with your own experiences, and come across very clearly. And for anyone that really wants to look into the journey of a junior athlete going all the way to become a professional, the struggles, the choices, the sacrifices that you have experienced, for the sake of that journey. My greatest wish is that may it continue, and may you continue, to have more podium times. Your performances, including those nights when there's wind,
Yeah, I know. I just need to be a bit smarter when it's windy, use someone as a windshield. Don't take the race on. But, I definitely learnt from it. I've not done it before, and I won't do it again. But yeah, no, it's definitely, there's a lot to it. I'm still not by any means conquered, moving on to the senior level. I'm still learning every single race. That when you're at the senior level, you're all up there and you can all run these fast times. So it all does become very tactical, and I've made a few tactical errors just moving against these senior girls, because they can deal with it, what you're going to throw at them. So I think a lot of it is learning how to race the 800, you know, it's okay running a fast time, but you have to be tactically astute as well, and that is very difficult when you go to the senior level, because it's the tactics are different. You know, the girls are bigger, you get pushed around, you've got to learn how to, you know, stick in there and race the race smart as well as fast. So I'm still learning. I haven't conquered it. I'm just hoping, you know, in the next, you know, year or so, I'm going to be up there and really giving them a run for their money. So that's the aim.
Yeah, no, brilliant. It's I like the clarity of that aim there, and it's the one that has always in my mind pushed you through everything that you were thrown at in training. There's that clarity of purpose. You know, it both gives you the motivation, but it also, if anything, gives you the persistence.
Yeah.
In conquering all regimes.
We'll get there eventually. Just gotta stick at
it. Right. In closing, just one piece of advice you would give a junior that's, you know, they've got all their decisions up in the air, but they want to become a professional athlete. You know, what one advice would you give them?
I think that you have to be very honest with yourself. If that is 100% what you want to do, you got to know that it's not going to be an easy road, and it's not going to be easy decisions. But if you've made the decision that that is what you want to do, every decision in your life has to be for your running. You know, everything, is this going to benefit my running? Is this going to get me to where I want to be? Okay, then I'll do it. I think you really have to think about the stuff you put yourself forward for, or the stuff that the decisions you've got to make, like the decision of me moving home. Is that going to help me at the time? I think that will really help me. So that's why I made the decision. So at the time that you are at, you've got to just make the decisions that you think are going to get you to where you want to be, and make smart decisions.
Yeah. Well, on that smart note, I shall say thank you very much, you know, for coming on to the show. Hopefully I can bring you back in the near future, you know, after 1 or 2 Grand Prix races, and
yeah.
the strategies have changed.
Once I've worked out the senior level, I'll come back. I'm still a work in progress.
That's all right. That's all it can be, work in progress. Once we stop working, then the progress gets stagnated. So let's keep the work going there, Ellie.
Yes, definitely.
Well,
definitely.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. So it's good night from me.
Good night from me too. Thank you for having me.
Right on. That.